Hi, I'm John with Dyke Industries. Today we're going to show you how to install an interior door. So for this job, you're going to need an impact drill and also a drill driver. You're also going to need a long level, either a 6-foot level or a 78-inch level, which I like to use. Also a shorter level, this is a 2-foot level, depending on the size door that you are installing. You'll also need a tape measure, a speed square or a square of some kind. You'll need some shims, screws, 2-inch or 2.5-inch trim screws, and a screwdriver. It's very handy at times. So the first step is to check the opening to make sure that it's relatively level, plumb in every way. Use your long jam level. Check both sides. Next, we'll want to grab the door that's sitting here and set it in the opening. In this particular instance, we're simply installing this door as demonstration, so there's no drywall on here. But if you do install a door and there is no drywall, you'll want to compensate for that by making sure that the jamb comes in about 1/2 inch off of that framing. So first you'll want to use your short level and make sure that this header is level. So in this case, the hinge side needs to go up. Double check it for level. Now you're ready to put shims behind the hinge up top. Always start with the top hinge, it just works way better that way, much easier. Check the door for level this way by placing your level against the hinges. Also, it needs to be level this way. Either add shims or back off on the shims a little bit. Pre-drilling before each screw is very important. You'll want to pre-drill right between the hinge and the door stop. This is a great place to put screws. They're relatively hidden and they'll later be filled by the painter. I'm using these 2.5-inch trim screws with a finish trim head. Then you go to your bottom hinge. A couple shims in there. Again, making sure that the shims are directly behind each hinge. That's very important for the longevity of an install. So here again, let's make sure we've got that 1/2 inch to compensate for the drywall. Make sure we're still level and plumb. Again, pre-drilling before each screw is very important. Now for your middle hinge, you'll basically just want a straight edge with your long level. Straight edge from the top all the way to the bottom. Double checking it with your level. Now we're ready to put the door slab back on the hinges. Always start with the top hinge. Wiggling to get it on there. Simply tap the hinge pins all the way down. So with the hinge side secured, we now want to close the door. Make sure it's aligned with the jamb all the way from top to bottom. So now we'll put shims up top here on the strike side. I always like to start from the top down, 6-8 inches down from the top. Again, right behind the door stop. Pre-drill with an 1/8 inch. After each screw, just make it a practice of closing your door and checking the margin, making sure it's good. Now we'll do shims at the bottom, 6-8 inches up from the bottom. Then close your door, check it. Next we'll do shims in the middle, close to the strike plate. Check the door once again. Margin looks decent. Sometimes in between your shims, you'll need to add additional shims or simply add another screw if you need to pull this in just a bit. You should always have a nice even reveal. Now that you've checked your margins, reveals all the way around the door, and they're looking good all the way around the door, top to bottom, your install is complete. Thank you for watching. I'm John with Dyke Industries.
For additional resources and planning tools, be sure to check out the Dyke Edge Door Configurator at dykedoors.com.